He was the golden boy of Hollywood and was a hero to many, spending over at least 40 years in Hollywood and later becoming an activist. A real life war hero who was able to take and even share his experiences in real life to the silver screen in some of his characters he was able to play, being known in Hollywood as one of the greatest actors of all time, active in the United States politics and even becoming friends with one of the presidents of the United States, Ronald Reagan. This was the legendary William Holden, and this is his basic biography. Early life. William Holden was born on the 17th of April 1918 in Illinois, USA. His father was a chemist and his mother was a teacher, and he grew up with his two brothers in the state of Illinois during the 1920s. Then moving to California, where his father was able to get another job, as well as his mother at the same time, in Pasadena. He would even attend high school and even college within Pasadena, whilst being able to get a degree in chemistry, with a chance to spend some time acting in various stage performances and plays, whilst in education. The late 1930s was the start of his film career and even acting in general, where he was able to start after his finishing in education and graduating from university. He worked in various radio productions, and before getting into film, he even enlisted in the United States Air Force, where he was able to be able to act in various film scenes and even becoming a part of the World War. This was due to one of his brothers being able to be a fighter pilot during the Pacific Campaign in World War II, but sadly died in battle. He would spend some time after the war to continue his acting career and even being signed up to by major production companies throughout the 1930s and even to the 1940s. Acting career. William Holden was able to become an actor of the silver screen after his university years. The first production company that would help him to his new career was Paramount Pictures in the late 1930s. His first film appearance was Golden Boy in 1939, which was before he enlisted in the United States Air Force, and being part of the Second World War. He would co-star with legendary actor Lee J. Cobb and even actress Barbara Stanwyck. Later on, he would be going on to act in more movies in the 1940s, even signing up for westerns and some gangster movies due to his pretty boy looks, and even coined the nickname Golden Boy. He would still work for Paramount with the Western genre having an impact in the United States cinema or American cinema in general, and sometimes cinema around the world, making him a leading star in one of his first Western acts called Arizona in 1940. This will be the first Western film he will be majorly a lead, and even starring alongside with Jean Arthur. Then, in the following year, he was able to star with Glenn Ford, another Western actor, in the movie Texas. He sometimes took roles based on war movies whilst being enlisted in um, World War II and even the United States Air Force in 1942, straight after being his Western film appearance, providing more of a real world experience to his characters due to being an airman in the time of war, which most actors were able to do if they were interested and even enlisted in the army or in the air force or even the navy during World War II period, which also was implemented in various war heroes and even veterans which he was able to play on the silver screen. Once the war was over, would be able to be discharged from the Air Force and get back into Hollywood to be an actor again. But he has struggled to be a leading man of the silver screen. Meant he would be up against other new actors at his time. These will be another veteran, James Stewart, and even John Wayne, and then also the leading man they had for westerns was Gary Cooper, who would be the three leading men in the western genre. He would be given a script to a film that would do away from the different types of genre being working on previously, now working on dramas, comedies, and even film noirs that were also big at the time. Golden Boy of Hollywood. The war was over, and he spent time just to get his acting skills in top shape. There were new actors and actresses that would be able to fight their way to the leading credits, and even top billing on various stage performances and even film productions. William Holden was able to get himself into an iconic role and be an icon working in films during the 1950s. As in the 1950s was the breakout decade due to starring in more movies that included new and existing actors and actresses who were also big at the time. Starring in Sunset Boulevard in 1950, where he would fight against Montgomery Clift just to get a role, and even star with Gloria Swanson, who was a legendary actress of her time. He became an overnight sensation after Sunset Boulevard, being a lover man and sometimes being a tough guy based on his earlier roles. His stardom rose when even more once he got a new script, and this was for the movie Statlag 17 in 1953. This would be the movie that would have him co-starring with future Mission Impossible star Peter Graves, with a chance for William Holden to share his acting style with implementation of his real-world war experience. Even afterwards, he was able to win an Academy Award for this specific film. Afterwards, he managed to get another role that would collaborate himself with another legendary actor called Humphrey Bogart, and even star with the new and beautiful Audrey Hepburn in the movie Sabrina. Continuing his winning streak of getting the top billing in various films in the 1950s, he became an icon in this particular decade, making him a household name, and even becoming one of the greatest stars of all time. One of the greatest films that that actually made him a lead, and even be casted above other actors in this specific film or specific film, called The Bridge Over the River Kwai, which was released in 1957 and starred with fellow actor or future Star Wars star Alec Guinness, then carrying on his fame by traveling around the world and acting around the world in various films and movies that were based on spy thrillers to westerns, which he was able to adapt and mold in, even getting the world to love his films and even rejoice to see him become the hero at his older age at the time. William Holden was only married once and was able to have a partner straight after his marriage. His wife was called Brenda Marshall, and their relationship lasted from 1941 to 1971. And then another relationship happened after his divorcing his wife. His partner at that time was Stephanie Powers, with their relationship lasting from 1972 to 1981. He would have three children after his relationships. He would have some problems with alcohol whilst being an actor, where it was having an impact on his career, when even he needed help to become or get back into his acting to become a comeback actor, but not a leading man. The 60s would see him being praised again but for his movies and even being in more movies as a comeback star status. Starring in the movie The Wild Bunch in 1969 and even other movies in that particular decade. The 1970s had him slowly working in various movies and was only selected in a few based on his opinion, based on the movies he was starring in. These movies would have new leads such as Paul Newman as well as Steve McQueen in the movie Towering Inferno in 1976. But outside of Hollywood, he would be a part of the Republican Party in the United States, where he was able to become friends with the President Ronald Reagan, who was also an actor as well, and even supported him in his campaign to becoming an actor. He would even William Holden, would become an activist with protecting animals that were being mistreated or being abused by people. This meant he would have to create his own foundation to protect these animals, and he did made his own foundation, which was called the William Holden Wildlife Foundation during the 1970s. Plus finishing his final film role called SOB in 1981. William Holden passed away from exsanguination and would be related to his heavy drinking and poor health. This was on the 12th of November 1981, and he was just only 63 years old at the time of his death. He would have continued being a great actor by playing older gentlemen and even being classed as an action hero within his Hollywood career. His legacy still lives on today, as many actors were inspired by his roles, and even once being a great actor that was able to have had a chance to implement his acting style with his real life experiences in his characters, and even acting in general, which most of these actors and actresses were able to use based on their inspiration. He managed to be given a tribute by Ronald Reagan himself whilst being a president, and even getting his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in his time of the time of acting. His foundation managed to live on even till today, being a big part of his living legacy, and even being a charity that would be created by himself, with an experience of his world travel being implemented with his love of animals. He was listed as one of the greatest actors of all time, and being given an Academy Award in his breakout decade. He drew many people to see his movies, basically making him a Hollywood hero and hero to many. Sometimes having actors now using his style of acting that actually made him the whole golden boy of Hollywood. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't done so. My name is Suki Cookie, and I have more content like this. Once again, thank you for watching.